Here's my week 2 overview for speech 203. I think by now you're starting to get a feel for the class, and you might notice that it moves along very quickly, all right? One thing I've done this week, I've provided the PowerPoints for the different chapters that you're reading, and you'll see this unfold in the Moodle, is that every week you have chapters that you'll read from the textbook, and then I also provide the PowerPoints, which serve as a study guide for those chapters, all right? And they'll help you with the quizzes. I'd really like to stress that the textbook is excellent. You've heard me already say this probably, and it's very vital in an internet class that you really kind of pick up some of the tools on your own and do some of this work on your own without me there to actually whack you doing it. I do have the quizzes, though, to ensure me that you've actually read the work and comprehended it. I can't tell you enough what a good textbook this is. And, you know, this is your class, this is your money, and you want to be a better speaker, and the textbook is really going to help you do this. So I'm going to kind of hold your hand and guide you through this, all right, and provide a lot of input. But if you'll follow the textbook, you will really learn a lot, and you'll really get a lot of value from this class, all right? So one of the things you might ask yourself is, in an online speech class, how are we going to get over some of the issues that really face us as public speakers? And the predominant issue, of course, is fear, all right? You know, we all have stage fright. This is very, very natural. And when I first started teaching, standing up in front of classes, I had stage fright, okay? So the way I overcame this is I went to class very, very prepared. I had my notes ready. Not detailed notes, okay, but I always had note cards on which I had the class outlined, how I was going to conduct the class for that hour. So I could look at my notes and say, okay, this is what I'm going to do next, all right? I didn't have to write it all out, but I did have to have a thorough outline. And we'll talk about this quite a bit in this class. The textbook will talk about it with you, and I'll cause you to do some exercises, and you actually will outline your major speech that you're going to give in this class. You will not write it out. The problem with writing out a speech is that you tend to read it, and it sounds read. Okay, you don't want that. You want a speech to sound very, very natural. So in this particular case, I'm trying to teach you naturally, all right? I've not written out what I'm going to say here for the next 4 or 5 minutes, but I do have an outline. I have notes here as to how I want to, the things I want to cover so I don't forget anything, and in the order in which I want to cover them, all right? So this is what I want you to be doing. There are some speeches in the textbook that are written out, but that's for the purpose of discussion. That's for the purpose of learning some things about how a speech actually looks in terms of its introduction, its body, and its conclusion, all right? And I present a couple of those written out speeches so that you can actually analyze them and see what the component parts are, not so they actually write out a speech yourself, okay? The other way you get over fear, of course, is you practice a lot. So before you give your final speech for this class, if you really want it to sound smooth, if you really want to get over some of the fear of public speaking and kind of act like you're really speaking in front of a class, you're going to practice it a lot, all right? You're going to practice it from your note cards, and your note cards are just going to be an outline. They're not going to be detailed notes because you want to sound fresh. You want to sound natural. But you get that way, you get very confident by doing the practicing. Do your speech, follow your note card, do it over and over again until you really feel confident with it. Then the other important thing, of course, is where you get over fear, and this is all covered in the textbook, but I want to go over this here, is you know your topic very, very well. All right, you're the expert on your topic. You know more about your topic than your audience, so therefore you have nothing to fear, okay? So this often involves a lot of research, a lot of looking through library sources. I send you to the Trine library online, all right? You don't have to drive over, okay? Don't fear that. And, of course, you can go to Google, other places, as long as you're sure your material is authentic. Don't forget your audience is always very intelligent, and you can't talk down to your audience, and you can't give them bogus information because they'll know better, all right? So if you know your topic and have a good outline, you automatically avoid the whole issue of fear and stage fright. A couple things I'd like to point out this week, besides that I've added the PowerPoints for you, is make sure you go through the learning module document very, very carefully. As you've noticed by now, it's got a lot of hyperlinks in it. There are a lot of things you really need to follow from the document online. That's why I say don't print this stuff out. It won't do any good. You could print out the course calendar, you could print out the course syllabus, but don't print out these weekly learning module documents. They won't do any good that way. So this week you've got 2 discussions. In addition to posting a summary, you must post a summary from this little overview I'm giving you, just so I know that you've actually looked at this. All right, you don't have to respond to anybody else. But go down to the bottom of Moodle and you'll see a class participation link for each week. Click on that class participation link, post your summary there, and I'll be able to look at it and say, okay, good, this student, paid attention. You have a speech by Hillary Clinton. She's an excellent public speaker. It's a pretty early speech in her career. I think you'll find that interesting. There's something called diction, and I provide a link to diction. Diction is basically speaking very clearly, all right, making sure your word choice is good and that you speak those words carefully and clearly. You don't belabor them, all right, but you need to avoid kind of mumbling. You can't mumble online, all right. And then I ask you to do a couple of discussions about one discussion about Hillary Clinton, and then I asked you to do an icebreaker where you talk about yourself a little bit. Excuse me. No, I don't mean that. We've done that. I have you talk about the ethical considerations of public speaking. One of your chapters is about ethics, and it's very, very important in a college class. Is we have to talk about ethics all the time. When you go out in the business world, you need to have ethical considerations as you speak. All right, and so there's some special ethical considerations for public speaking, and so I asked you to take a look at those in the discussion. So make sure you do the discussions, please. And then what you're going to do as an icebreaker is you're going to present a speech about yourself. All right, this week. Okay, that's the big assignment for this week, is give us 4 minutes about yourself. Outline it first, decide what you want to talk about, tell us who you are, do it in a speech. Now, by now, hopefully, you've been able to download Audacity, you've downloaded the LAME encoder, you've combined the two, and you've practiced. All right, make sure it works. Say you're having some problems, okay, with that. If you'll scroll down to the bottom of the Moodle, you'll see a link, you'll see a header called Class Resources. Under that, there's 3 links. One's about more information about Audacity, plus 2 others are 2 other choices you could do. You could use YouTube Quick Capture feature if you have a webcam, or if you don't, you could use something called Screen Toaster, which is very similar to YouTube, except for it records your screen, all right, and your voice at the same time if you set it up correctly. All right, so there's a little technology involved here. You know, you're in an internet class, so you need to kind of master the technology. All right, so with Screen Toaster, you could create a short PowerPoint about your speech. You could create an outline. PowerPoint's an outline tool. 1 slide per point if you wanted, okay? And then you could do that, and I'd be able to follow your outline too, and I'd hear your voice, and you could give your speech in that fashion. So I provide you with a couple of different options there. So I'm rambling on. If you have any questions, as usual, use the Moodle mail feature to get a hold of me. I check that every day, and you should be in good shape. Thank you.